one of the great things I realized in, let's say, spirituality is that people would be shocked if they were to realize how when they heal within themselves or they have certain realizations or epiphanies within themselves, it doesn't just affect you. It affects your ancestors. It affects your kids. It affects ancestors dead or alive, and even your galactic lineage. Like these things get downloaded within the collective, of your exact lineage, and then also the collective of humanity.
2, 1, 0.
Hello and welcome to Stellar Life Podcast. And today I am flying high with the man from the stars, Kurtis Lee Thomas. He was a guest on the show before, and I enjoyed his interview so much that I invited him again. And today we're going to talk about breathwork and how to get into different dimensions, activating the God molecule so you can create clarity and peace in your life. We talked about experiencing oneness and how love is the base of all emotions. Kurtis Lee Thomas is a corporate mindfulness trainer and founder of Breathwork Detox. He's the #1 best-selling author of The World Is Yours, The Secret Behind the Secret, and author of the #1 new release on Amazon, How to Thrive in Age of Anxiety. This was a pleasure and an honor for me to have him on the show again, and I enjoyed it as always. And now, without further ado, on to the show. Hi, Kurtis, and welcome to the show. Thank you so much for being here again. I'm super excited to be talking to you.
All right, I'm excited too. Let's get it on.
Yes. Before we dive in, can you maybe share with me what is one or two or more of the best lessons that you learned in the last year or two?
Oh gosh, the best right off the bat, huh?
Yeah.
Jeez.
Let's go in. Yes.
The best lessons, I don't know if I'd call it a lesson, but I just had a new appreciation for people because, when you hire really good people in your company that are aligned with your mission, it's like, man, they can take so much of your stress, and things off of your plate. So you can focus on your genius, focus on the things that you're good at and you're passionate about. So delegation and automation for me was a really great lesson, realizing that I don't need to do it all myself. And I think that's a Capricorn problem is that, we think we need to do it, ourselves. And I noticed that, when you have a new business or a startup, you always have to hire the person who's going to do the best job for the lowest amount of money. And when you're doing startups all the time, that person is always you because you're going to do it cheaper than everyone else and you're going to do it the way that you want to. So just really building the team that's like-minded, that helps get to the mission and what we all want to accomplish. That has been a good lesson, just realizing that I don't have to do everything on my own.
Right. And how do you attract those people?
Ooh, I think it probably just ties right into the law of attraction. I did have to go through, what do they say? A few frogs. I had to, find the tribe, and I think that your vibe does attract your tribe. And I think that the more you grow and the more you put yourself out there, the right people will resonate and want to be a part of that. And that's really what's been happening. I have been attracting some pretty amazing folks to, come along and be a part of this ride with me. So yeah, definitely. I think the law of attraction is always in effect, right? It's like you can't turn it off. You can't skip a turn. You can't do anything. It's always in effect. It's like gravity. If I pick this bottle cap up and I let go, it's going to drop. It's the same with the law of attraction. It's always in motion and you can't unplug it. You can't do any of these things. So you just have to learn how to utilize it better. And you don't need to learn the law of attraction because you already know how to attract things. You've been doing it your entire life. And it's just sometimes we attract the wrong things, or some things we attract things that we don't want, or sometimes it's really slow in manifesting. And there are tips, tools, tricks, and techniques to expedite manifestations for sure. But I kind of want to just throw that out there, that you don't really need to learn it because you already been doing it. You just need to fine tune it.
So you attract the right people, and how do you keep them? How do you do good management? How do you manage your group in the best way? And do you guys do breath work together? Do you go on trips together? How do you come to be? How do you create a teamwork?
Yeah, well, know thyself, right? That's number one. And number one is I hate managing people. That's not my thing. I've always been an entrepreneur, and we just get things done on our own. And that's just how I am. And I don't want anybody managing me. And that's just the DNA of an entrepreneur. And I'm not good at managing other people, right? I want people who are proactive, self-sufficient. But yet people do need to get managed. It's just not me. So then you have to go find a manager, right, to manage the people who need managing. But that's not what I'm good at. I'm not good at managing people. And that's a lot of it. It's just knowing thyself, realizing who you are, who you're not, what you're good at, what you're not good at.
Right. And what are you good at? What's your genius?
My genius is connecting dots, right? Between whether it's, information like I did in The World Is Yours, took very profound, occult, mystical information, and then very practical, spiritual level one information like the law of attraction. And I took these, two worlds, and I connected them into a very easy to read narrative for the average person who is looking to awake, or someone who's deep down the path, who can read this book, and it can help put everything into perspective. It's like the edges of the puzzle board, right? If you have all the edges of the puzzle board, it's a lot easier to take your pieces and put them on the puzzle board and see the picture. But it's really hard to just get your puzzle piece and try to figure out where it is. And that's what that book is. So really connecting dots. And then also within business, it's the overall vision, right? Of where we're heading, what we're looking to do, the macro level of business, and the marketing, right? The marketing. These are the things that I'm good at. And then I also would like to get really good at doing this right here. Right, podcast, because you got to look at the things like, what can you delegate, right? Can I go delegate? Well, it's crazy because now you actually can delegate an AI avatar to go and do video, which is crazy. I can't even believe I had to correct myself
Maybe in
on
a
that.
few months, but it's not there yet.
No, it's there. It's there. I promise you, there's videos right now that you can go on AI platforms, and it'll just record like this video. I can upload this video, and I can give it a script of something I've written, or something that it can write for me. And then I'll take my video and have me say in that script as if I'm talking to you right now, and you can barely tell the difference. That exists today.
Yeah, I know, and in different languages, but it's still like you can kind of tell. It's not there where it's like completely 100% polished, but yes, if you get a voicemail, it will sound completely like you. AI scares me.
I have a buddy who's really deep into AI, and he has, I think, over like 12 patents. He's been in it for a really long time. And, his AI is a little bit different. He explains to me, he's like, AI is trying to make computers smarter, and eventually so they can take over jobs. That's really the point of AI and the direction that it's going. And his AI is all focused and geared on making humans smarter. So it's much different than the AI that's out there, and then what he's trying to do. And his company is called Ally. I think it's ALAI. And it's pretty cool, some of the things that he's doing. I'm not sure what I can divulge or not, but I like his intention. I think his intention is really pure on what he's creating within AI. But yeah, it is pretty scary, some of the things that's happening in the AI world, for sure.
Yeah, not everybody's pure. We have very evolved beings, and we also have some that are wanting to destroy the planet or have some evil plan. And then even Elon Musk has been warning people about the implication of AI. Do you think AI will ever have consciousness like the way we do?
Do I think it'll ever have consciousness? Man, I think there's already AI entities in the world that are hybrids, not in this world, but in the universe, that are hybrids that aren't fully human. I think that already exists for sure. It's probably the beings and entities who are stewarding this AI evolution. But that's my personal belief. If you want to go out there.
When you do breath work, first of all, how did you develop your method of breath work, and what is the difference between your method to different other methods?
Yeah, I mean, there's many different types of breath work. You have many forms of pranayama. There's also alternate nostril breathing. There's box breathing. There's many different techniques that do different things. What I focus on and certifying people in is a deep diaphragmatic breathing technique. And there's many names for that as well. My name is called, for my modality, is Breathwork Detox. And there's a reason why I called it Breathwork Detox, not just because this modality is the most deepest, cleansing, most cathartic modality out there. There's nothing out there that can compare to the power of deep diaphragmatic breathwork, aka breathwork detox. So I focus on that modality just because I've been in life coaching, I've been certified in NLP, hypnotherapy, Reiki master, sports science, uh, all these different modalities. And I think anyone who is a therapist, a trainer, a coach, they are in the business of helping people. That's why they're there. And they go to school or they go get these certifications or they learn these techniques and modalities ultimately because they want to produce results for their clients. And I wanted the same. And unfortunately, not all these modalities are as effective as another. And there's no modality created the same. And why I liked Breathwork Detox is because I found the vehicle that could house, right? That could be the ultimate, like the transformers, right? That all the other certifications and skill sets and modalities that I had could go into this container. And then this one container was actually the most receptive from clients, corporate, because I'm not saying, hey, let's go and hypnotize your employees. Let's go NLP them. Let's go Reiki master them. It's like, hey, we're going to go do a breathing exercise. But yet, little do they know, it's the Trojan horse, and it's the most profound breathing exercise that they can do next to, like, DMT or ayahuasca, and it's completely natural and normal, and it's very euphoric. And once they go through the experience, they're like, "Oh my God, I never knew that existed," and they're very, very grateful. So, I do like going into companies, but I also spend a lot of time certifying other teachers to go out there and teach my modality. That's where my two areas of time are most allocated: in training teachers and trainers, and working with corporations.
Yeah, and what happens when you do the breath work? I From my understanding, you activate the God molecule, and you are connected to, what are you connected to?
Everything. Right? So the God molecule, I believe you're referring to, aka the spirit molecule, which they did a whole documentary on Netflix, is they call it DMT, right? Dimethyltryptamine. And it's
So what is 5-MDMO?
so it's like the toad, the frog. It activates the DMT in the body.
Okay, okay, okay.
And that's what causes profound experiences. Probably the most profound experience you'll ever have, ever, in every area of ever. uh,
Forever, ever, and ever, ever. Yeah.
100%. It's also the active component in ayahuasca. So any of these crazy experiences that you hear, it's because of DMT. However, it's in everybody. It's in every plant and every animal. So everybody has it in them. And it's also, we secrete it every night within our pineal gland, which causes us to go into our dream state. And when that DMT secretes while we're sleeping, it launches us into literally the most magnificent virtual reality gaming system ever known to man, which is the dream world, where you can be in there and you feel it so real. And then next thing you know, you wake up and you're like, oh, that was a dream. And then you go about your life. That's the power of that chemical. But when you're saying it activates the God molecule, which is the same thing that we're talking about, not the. So what I discovered is that the DMT not only secretes from the pineal gland, but it also secretes from the lungs, and actually more than the pineal gland. It's just hard to activate it within the lungs. However, this technique that I found, it activates it, but it's not absurd doses or amounts. So if someone's kind of listening to this and like, wait, I don't want to go trip my balls off or, end up in a different reality. It's not like that. It just secretes just enough where you feel euphoric, you feel blissful, you feel connected to a higher power. You connected to that AKA God molecule. It gives you profound insight and realizations about your life that you're able to solve problems that you couldn't solve before. It activates the transient hypofrontality, that process in your brain, which gives you that immense clarity. And clarity is just so valuable. And I believe that because I think the opposite is confusion, and confusion is temporary insanity. So when you're able to do a natural technique that gives you clarity, that gives you deep healing, that gives you profound insight in this natural euphoria, it's like, what? Like, how much is that drug? Oh, wait, it's for free? Oh, I can learn this? Oh, and I can teach it to other people? Okay, yeah, teach me what you know, right? And that's how I get a lot of my my newbies who are curious to go through the experience. And, and then a good portion of those people, want to have this tool in their toolbox, whatever type of coach or healer or therapist that they are.
Mm-hmm. And do you teach it more over Zoom or in person?
I do both, but mainly it's virtual. So I've been able to cultivate a pretty awesome experience virtual that has been extremely effective and allowed me to lead tens of thousands of people in over probably 29 countries right now. And it's all virtual. And I do some live. My trainings are both live and virtual. We're doing a live one in South Florida in March. I'm doing a live event actually March 2nd.
Where in Florida, please?
It's in Sebastian, Florida, near Orlando. So it's at this private 40-acre utopia, beautiful, awesome, kind of glamping. It's absolutely gorgeous. It's called Chosen Retreat Center. If you guys want to look that up, it's CHOZEN Retreat Center in Florida. And so that's when we're doing our next retreat, which is also a Breathwork Detox certification. So, but I'm doing a regular live event in St. George, Utah, March 2nd. And then I'll just do pockets of tours. I'll do an East Coast, and but mostly it is virtual. It's online.
Wow. I can't wait for you to come to Miami. That will be really, really fun.
Okay, yeah. All right, you're in Miami. I was just in Naples doing some breathwork events.
Okay, cool. Because even doing the virtual with you, and I've done it only once, and I don't want to shoot all over myself, but I should do it again because it was a profound experience for me. Really, very powerful, actually. So definitely, I'm curious to see how me as a person, how I evolved doing it the second time, and I wondered how do you think you evolved with all this work, with doing so much breath work, with touching so many lives?
Oh man, I mean, doing breathwork for myself and then facilitating breathwork for other people affects my life in many different ways, right? For me, it gives me my own clarity, my own insight. It's more of an inside job, right? And that's extremely beneficial for me because I'm getting the same benefits as other people are getting who go through the experience. But when I get to facilitate other people and I get to, be with them and have them share their testimonials and their experiences and their breakthroughs. And I get to see that time and time again, and to be the catalyst for their healing, for their life-changing realizations. I can't tell you how many times that people have gone to a breath work with some problem. It doesn't even matter what it is. And then they come out and they solve the problem. And this could be a problem they've had for 4 years, 5 years, 10 years, or it could be a healing, something they'd be trying to heal from energetically, emotionally, healed in one session, or just anything that's been going on in their life. And, and they come and they say, wow, that one breathwork session that I did with you completely changed the way I looked at this, or I looked at that. Hearing that time and time and time again, it doesn't boost my pride as maybe it did in the beginning. But more now, as I kind of settled into what I do, it just gives me the confirmation that I'm doing what I'm supposed to be doing, right? I'm in my purpose. And that is a really good feeling.
Amazing. And what's your biggest dream? Where do you want to be? Like, what do you want to achieve in this realm?
My biggest dream right now is honestly just doing more of what I'm already doing. I already feel so aligned in what I'm teaching, and who and how I'm impacting people. Is I'm at the point now is just like I want to impact more lives, right? So tens and thousands. What about tens of millions?
Nah, yeah. What about it?
I want to create that ripple effect, and I can't imagine what what type of impact that would make on the planet, because that is, we're all connected to one another. And one of the great things I realized in, let's say, spirituality, is that people would be shocked if they were to realize how, when they heal within themselves, or they have certain realizations or epiphanies within themselves, it doesn't just affect you. It affects your ancestors. It affects your kids. It affects ancestors dead or alive, and even your galactic lineage. Like, these things get downloaded within the collective, of your exact lineage, and then also the collective of humanity. And that kind of profound realization, or just knowledge that I've learned. And this is why you hear the great, this isn't just me talking about this. You hear Gandhi say, be the change that you wish to see. Yeah. Right. And I always mess this guy's up. Laos Tao.
Sorry, Gandhi.
Yeah, no, Gandhi, we got him, but Lao Tzu, anyway, he has the one. I gotta Google this afterward. But something like, if you want to get rid of all of the darkness in the world, get rid of all the darkness within yourself. If you want to get rid of all the suffering in the world, get rid of the suffering within yourself. Like, it really comes down inside of you. The transformations you make within you actually affect the collective. And even if you look, they did these scientific studies with small groups in Washington, D.C. They'd go to Washington, D.C., which at the time, I think this was in the 80s, it was the murder capital of the world. They take these small groups of people, meditators, and they would meditate on peace. And I remember in this study, the police chief came on air and was like, hey, what do you think about, someone asked him, what do you think about this study that's supposed to, increase the peace in DC? And he goes, it's going to take 2 foot of snow to decrease the violence in this city right now. And sure enough, they employed this meditation, and it dropped by 46%. And even the police chief was like, holy crap, this woo-woo stuff is real. And they did it also in the Middle East with 7,000 people who employed meditation. And they would measure how it was effective by the number of terrorist attacks and the number of hospital visits of violence. That's how they would make this quantifiable and measurable. And when they were doing the meditation, all of the bombings, all of the terrorist attacks, and the hospital visits would decrease. And then when they stopped the meditation, slowly, you'll see it go up. And you can Google this. It's called the Maharishi effect. So a small group of people can literally affect the collective of an entire, area, continent, and even the world. So that's probably the biggest realization that anyone on the path can have. And probably the only way that we could save the planet is literally if just small groups of people unite and we all collectively go, have the same vision for the world, how that would literally change everything all night, which is why there's so many things, plans to divide people. Right. Constantly. Right. That they're trying to divide people and putting us in boxes. What's your race? What's your gender? What's your tax bracket? What's this? What's that? It's constantly division, pitting people against them, pitting Democrats, Republican. It's all these, okay, they're them, they're that, all this division. And it's mainly to stop us from uniting, because if we just all united on one vision, we'd be astounded at how fast the entire planet can change. I truly believe that, and why I believe there's so much division in the world.
Mm. So how do you deal in everyday life with bad news or hardships or the state of the world? How do you detach? Because even though I consider myself a spiritual person with many spiritual practices, and I too sometimes get sucked into that illusion of separation.
Yep. I'd say step one is turn the news off. I haven't watched news well over 10 years. I haven't turned on TV and put on the news. And if I remember I used to go to the barbershop, and every time I went to the barbershop, they'd have this news on, and the news station. And I'd be like, dude, do you have any idea this stuff is just programming everyone's subconscious in here? He's like, really? He's like, man, I'm always stressed out. And I'm like, yeah, because you watch the news every single day. I'm like, turn it off. He's like, yeah, but how am I going to know what's going on? I'm like, I haven't watched the news in, I forget how many years it was then. And I go, do you think I'm okay? He's like, well, yeah. I'm like, you'll be fine. Trust me. So, the news, turning that off is number one. That would make such an impact, because of how many people are addicted to the news, and like people are addicted to serial killer movies and and all these things. And when I went to it's called NGH, National Guild of Hypnotists. It's the oldest and largest hypnotherapy school in the world. That's what I got certified by. And, a lot of me, I'm a very skeptical person. So if anyone's listening to this and I sound far out there, trust me, stick around, because I'm probably more skeptical than you at one point. Maybe not anymore. I'm just skeptical at a different group of people than I am now. But what they teach you, and when you learn about the subconscious mind, is that the subconscious mind doesn't know the difference if it's actually experiencing something or watching it on TV. So you could be sitting there and, there's bombs going off, and you're in, Syria or Gaza or wherever. And what's going to happen? Like, your heart's going to elevate and race, right? You're going to get nervous, right? But your eyes are seeing all these things. Well, if you're watching this intense movie about bombing, and it's a suspense, it's a thriller, and literally you're watching the movie and your palms begin to sweat, and your heart's racing, and you literally have an anxiety, like all the physiological triggers are going off in the body, the same as if you were there. But the subconscious does not know the difference between if it's physically happening or you're there. And that's why all these reactions in the body still happen. The brain doesn't shut off and say, oh, this is just a movie, so we're not going to feel stress. We're not going to feel anxiety. We're not going to feel fear. No, you still feel stress. You still feel anxiety. You still feel fear. And if you're constantly watching the news and seeing all these horrible things that's happening, you're programming your subconscious to constantly connect to negativity as its default. Because the neurons, they say neurons in the brain, neurons that fire together, wire together. What does that mean? It means that when you have these thought synapses, right, that just keep firing, that they create a neural pathway, which becomes the path of least resistance. So when you're just idle, your thoughts are idle, your brain will actually go into those neural pathways, which are those crappy thoughts and emotions that you're so used to feeling because you're watching either the news every day, you're watching scary movies every day, whatever it may be. And that's how you have a really shitty life. That is the formula for having a really stressful, unnecessary, stressful drama in your life. So I shut off the news. I don't watch scary movies, period.
Yeah, but what about social media? Because sometimes things snuck in on your social media, and if you are entertained by social media and you want to watch it, then you eventually are going to come across stuff that you don't like.
Yeah. So I guess I could say I could substituted those two for social media.
Okay. Yeah. Don't do social media. Okay.
Yeah. Because I am on social media, but social media is, you can change the channel. and you can control who you follow. Right? I don't follow pages that I know post this stuff. If I'm watching a page and it evokes an emotion inside of me that I don't like consistently, I unfollow them. It's very simple, right? And I follow people that lift me up, people that inspire me, people that give me new knowledge, new information, right? That's it. It's simple.
When I arrived to the States and watched Halloween happening for the first time, it was quite appalling to me. I mean, still, I'll go or trick or treat with my son, but I see all those images of like skulls and ugly things and bloody things, and it's just so dark. Like, what is this dark obsession? Why are people so obsessed with darkness, and they're decorating their whole house with like skulls and graves and like really dark, horrible things that not like, I don't know. It just feels very like a big dark national holiday. Like, here, come watch dark things, dress as dark things, and get your sugar on. That would be great for your body and soul.
I mean, you said exactly what it is, right? It's a demonic day. The devil has his own day here. It's quite clear. Like, there's no. It's just the crazy part about it is how we actually celebrate it, right? We actually kind of like we get so excited and like we celebrate it, and but it very much is a demonic day. It doesn't take an awakened soul or rocket scientist to figure that out. It's like
And I
it's
just thought it was
very.
a rocket scientist for a second there.
I mean, we know you are. You're from Orion, so you're special. Yeah. So yeah. Absolutely, you're absolutely right. It's just there's a lot of things that we do on this crazy planet that either just don't make sense, or maybe there's we don't understand what we're actually doing, or celebrating, or worshiping, or idolizing. There's just a lot of that goes on, or believing.
I had a house near my house, and they were obsessed with Halloween. Like, they had the most, like, I maybe like 200 items on their in their backyard, in their front yard, and like scary sounds that were playing on and off for 2 weeks. I hear like and my little boy is kind of like scared going down the street, or even like, trying to not to look when we drive to school. It was pretty wild. And so when you encounter darkness, I go back to that. What do you do to stay in the light, to focus on the light, to have the right intention?
Yeah, that's a great question. I look at darkness as different things. It could be Halloween, like you're talking about. It could be crazy things on TV. One, I'll try to stay out of the darkness, but I'm also not afraid of it. And I think that finding that happy balance for me um, is what works for me. Because even the work that I do with breath work, right? Um, it's very, very healing. But sometimes, people do have these profound experiences, and, I've witnessed some really crazy healings, in my eyes that could be perceived as like, whoa, like that's pretty crazy. That almost looks like, this or that. And I have to be comfortable in that energy of people's pain, people's darkness, and I have to be able to sit in mine and to be able to sit in other people's. So, that's very much, it's not even an opinion that I have. It's more of integrated in the fabric of who I am because it's been my training, since childhood, but I didn't know that because I didn't know I'd be doing what I'm doing now. Um, but being able to sit in someone's darkness and also not judge them. I feel like in Jesus's time, it was a time for, love, unconditional love. And I personally believe the time that we're in now, in this 2024 and beyond, is about compassion, right? Righteousness first, and then compassion. And compassion to me it's love and understanding, like having understanding for people. I don't believe love is a separate ingredient or emotion. I feel like love is the foundational emotion for all emotions. And when you have love, if you have the absence of love, right? No love, zero love, low love, it turns into hate, right? When there's no love. And let's just say you have love and you have love and happiness, that's joy. Love and understanding, that's compassion. So love is the foundation for every ingredient. We either have a whole lot of it. Let's say you have 100% love. Well, that's unconditional love,
Look
which
at
is the
this.
highest frequency,
Like
period. Oh, wow. I didn't even see that.
I have a big red heart
That's so
on my
cool.
shirt.
Yeah, it's huge, actually. Is that part of the shirt?
Yes. No,
Oh, I thought that was,
I just put it
I
on.
thought it was like a flavor, flave. Like, wow, it's a big love clock on on your neck.
I've been obsessed with
That's
hearts
cool.
lately. There's a lot of I got a lot of items with hearts, and I have the word love in my house. I noticed a lot.
Well, there you go. You're a love warrior.
I believe that God is love.
Yes, exactly. Which is why I said it's in everything.
Yes, I love your definition of love is the base of every emotion. It's either like it's love plus something. It's no love or with love. And all the positive emotions have some love or a lot of love to them, and then all the negative emotions have the lack of love.
Yes, correct.
That's cool. That's incredible. So I had an unpleasant breathwork experience. Um, I don't remember in the last year sometimes, and it was somebody who's pretty famous in this field, and he came to Miami. It was a big convention center area, like or a hall in a hotel, and maybe 200-300 people were there on the floor, and the process was really cool, and I was flying high, and it was amazing. And then somebody had an epilepsy attack or a heart attack. I don't know. She was shaking on the floor, and all of a sudden, it was like the whole energy shifted from being like super high. You just dropped really low, and a lot of people are in fear and going from this like dropping from those like super high states into holy, what is going on here? And I felt like the facilitator, the leader, was not leading at that moment, and it was just like, okay guys, we're gonna go, and everybody please leave, and give some space around that person. And then the fire truck came, and everybody were rushing outside, and it was just awful. It was an awful unfolding. And I was thinking to myself, because one of my dreams is one day to be a facilitator in a big event like that. And what do you do when stuff like this happen? Because my criticism was, you can't have people have their subconscious so wide open and just leave them hanging and say, congratulations, we're done, go home. It doesn't work that way. Maybe there was a different way of like taking care of that person and yet taking care of the other hundreds of people that you're responsible for and their psyche, because you really are opening their psyche in that moment.
Yeah. Um, one, I still give compassion to the facilitator because that is
Of course,
an
and
unfortunate.
yeah, unfortunate. Yeah, but then I was thinking about I was like, and even when I sent them an
Well,
email, they were like not even responding to me, telling them, yeah.
yeah. It is it's probably the most trickiest part of holding space. And I'm not saying breath work, because this could be breath work, this could be ayahuasca, it could be anything. And I'll give you an example. So when I first started breath work and I'd have these circles of groups, I'd start really small. We'd only have maybe 20 people in a group, right? And we go through the experience, and then I would have these unpacking, or we call them integration afterwards. And it'd be so amazing because somebody would come out after the breath work, like, oh my God, that was amazing. I seen my grandmother and she talked to me and she gave me a message. And another person was like, I've been trying to manifest this one thing. I couldn't figure out what was in the way. And, I just got this thought. I need to get rid of, this one thing in my life and it's going to clear the space. And another person was like, I've been trying to solve this problem and I just got the answer. Another person's like, my hip's been hurting for 25 years and this is the greatest relief I've ever felt in my hip. And you go around the room and then one person, you get to them and they're like, yeah, my dog died, last month. And, and then I just had this thought of when my dad used to, beat my grandma and, and my dog raped my frog and you just start hearing these crazy, crazy things. And you just like, and all of a sudden the energy in the room's like, boom. Like it just like, what is going on with this person? And then like all your high, all those vibes. So I stopped doing that because all these people, whether there's 300 people in a room, 20 people in a room, every single person is going to have a different experience. Now, for the most part, I will say this, and the same thing with now prior to breathwork, I used to take people to the jungles of Peru to be with Mother Ayahuasca. Right. So I have a lot of experience in this and I've been in the opposite side and I've been on the other side. And I will say this, there's no such thing as a bad trip. And there's no such thing as a bad journey, right? It just, one is going to give you an experience or show you something that you're either ready or not ready to see or know. That's it. And we're talking a very small amount of these experiences happen because you didn't actually have a bad experience, right? It turned into a bad experience because you allowed yourself to have that bad experience, right? And that was the experience for everybody. It's always the experience for everybody. Whatever happens, that's what it is. And is it easy to go have pay money to go to this place, have all these hopes and dreams and have this amazing experience, and then something out of your control happens and then you allow it to ruin your experience? Now, granted, you could be like, I don't like how that facilitator handled it, right? Because there is a responsibility when it comes to the facilitator of being able to hold the container for the other 299 people that are there who paid their money to have that experience. And then that one person, which is less than the 1% of the people there, right? You have to attend to that person. Now, how do you separate those two, right? So they each have those experiences, right? There's different ways to do that. I won't get into that now because it's not a teacher training protocol that I'm going to discuss right now because it's, anything with medical. Like I'll give you an example. Whenever one of my teachers will ask me, hey, Kurtis, a woman asked me they're 3 months pregnant. Can they do breath work? And I say, well, if their doctor says it's okay, then it's okay with me. Right. And then they'll be like, okay, well, this person broke their elbow and they're wondering if they can do breath work. And I say, if your doctor says it's okay, then it's okay with me. I broke my pinky 10 years ago. If your doctor says it's okay, it's okay with me. I'm not a doctor, right? I'm a breathwork facilitator. So I don't make those decisions for people. So there's right ways to handle certain situations and there's not right ways to handle situations. What I'm saying is that guy was in a really crappy predicament, and there are some ways to make people feel at ease. Sometimes it's the truth,
Yeah, I like what you said about taking my own responsibility for my experience. That absolutely 100% right. And as a future facilitator, it just like it got me into deep thinking of like how would I handle that situation, because nobody's prepared for somebody shaking on the floor or God forbid having a heart attack, or you never know what can happen in events like that, or what are the preconditions that people are coming with even if they sign a waiver or a form. So how you still like hold space and take care of those people that you're with and take care of that person as well. That was just my
Yeah. Well, number one is you need to have helpers with you. That's number one. So you need to have a group of people with you, and there needs to be protocols in place that if this happens, this is how you react to it. Because if you have one person who's doing everything, right, how can they attend to that person and also facilitate and hold space? They can't. So you have helpers that are able to take care of that person, because first and foremost, that person needs to be taken care of, right? Because that's what everyone else in the place would want as well. And then you have your helpers take care of those people. They know exactly what they need to do, and you can continue facilitating and guiding those people.
Yeah, that's what I thought. Well, amazing. Makes me want to study with you facilitating. It's what is your training like? Your teacher training like? Um, I guess all of your teachers are having a lot of breakthroughs themselves while going through the process.
Yeah, it's interesting. I just right before I got on with you, I had an IG live with the Chosen Retreat Center, and she asked the same question. And I was saying, because breathwork is the most transformative natural modality, a lot of people want to get certified right now. They want to have that tool in their toolbox, and they know that they're going to go out there and transform lives. But sometimes what they don't know is that the first life they're going to transform is theirs. Because in my training, I designed this training. I really should call it a personal development retreat or a breakthrough retreat. I actually did get the domain breakthrough boot camps. I'm going to be doing those soon. But that's my specialty is actually in transformative work, right? Taking people on retreats, bringing people through experiences, creating these breakthrough experiences for people. So the foundation of my teacher training is personal development. And I tell them, you can look on, the first video on my website, you'll see me talking to the group. And I say, my intention is for something to shift in you while you're here, for them to come in one person and leave another. And you just so happen to leave fully certified in breathwork and know everything that you need to know. So it's like a personal development retreat. It's a certification retreat. And then how we do it is you get certified not in just level 1 and level 2. So when you go level 1, we say, here's how you create your breathwork practice. Here's the basics and fundamentals that you need to know of how to hold space, which is what we just talked about. And it's different holding space for one-on-one, right? And we'll get to groups in a second. And then it's how to guide one-on-one. And then level 2, you learn how to guide for couples and for large groups, and how to hold space for large groups, which is a different animal than it is for one-on-one. So you leave fully certified in level 1 and level 2, so you can go out there and do your thing. And then, and then we have support systems also afterwards. So people who are out in the world and have these questions, we have a big community of other teachers that I've trained, that we all work together.
Yeah, so everybody that is listening, if you feel called to studying with Kurtis, go ahead, do it. You'll get your own breakthrough, or you can do, you still do the virtual sessions, right?
Yeah, doing them every 2 weeks.
Okay, wonderful. And where can people find you?
Man from the Stars at Instagram is one way, or you can go right on breathworkdetox.com, breathworkdetox.com, and you can get in touch with us there. You can see all the programs and services that we offer. You can get to access to the virtual event there. And then if you want to go on Instagram to Man from the Stars, you can see all my crazy posts that I do and connect to me there.
Are we from the same star? Men from the star.
At one point, yes.
Wonderful. It's good you know. I didn't know that. It's good. Nice. What are your 3 top tips to live in a stellar life?
Oh, to live in a stellar life. Being brutally honest with yourself, I think, is number one. Being brutally honest with yourself. And, I think being curious, right? Asking a lot of questions is really good. Curiosity didn't kill the cat. Ignorance did. And any amazing thing that came from my life has been getting really curious about a certain topic. So, stimulating that curiosity in your life, because that will lead you down a path that's usually pretty rewarding and fulfilling. So I love that. And then you said for 3 of them, right?
Well, first you had be honest with yourself, be curious, and then Boldly go where no one ever has gone before.
I don't know. I just watched this movie. You ever see that movie with Jim Carrey, Yes Man?
Yes, I liked it.
That is such a good movie. Like I was sitting there and I was like, oh, after I watched the movie, I was, oh my God, I'm gonna say yes to every opportunity. I was like, wait a second, am I really gonna do that? But yeah, I do. I had go through these phases, and at one point, I really did say yes to every opportunity. And when I mean I said yes to every speaking opportunity, every podcast, and I'm talking about speaking opportunities where I wasn't even being paid. Um, People asking me to go to events. Everything was yes, 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 yes. And this is when I first got to Los Angeles. And then at one point when I started to, all right, I want to build this infrastructure in my business. And then I went into no season. And in no season is just as powerful as yes season. It's just, it allows you to focus and you just say no to everything. So you can do deep dives, right? In deep work on a lot of these things. And I think knowing when to say yes and when to say no, or just going into your season of yes and your seasons of no and knowing the difference, that's been really effective for me.
Oh, I really like it.
So watch Yes Man.
Yeah, I'm gonna watch it today, probably. No, actually, I can't. I'm going to a birthday dinner with a girlfriend, but maybe some more.
Okay. Excellent.
Well, thank you, Curtis. It was really a pleasure having you on the show. I love everything that you teach. I love your wisdom. You're incredible. And mostly, I love that you are from the same star system. It's kind of cool. Thank you for being here. And
Thank you so much.
thank you. And thank you, listeners. Remember to be honest with yourselves, be curious, watch Yes Men, say yes to every opportunity, say no in the season of no, and yes in the season of yes, and just love yourself. Be fulfilled, find fulfillment, enjoy every day, and have a stellar life. This is Orion. Till next time.